Where to buy stylish Gothic winter jackets, and do Gothic winter jackets actually keep you warm? Today I'm going to be reviewing 4 different winter jackets from punkrave.ch. This is not a sponsored video, it's just one I created of my own free will because I live here in northern Michigan where we usually have snow 6 months out of the year, and I like to keep it stylish while I'm walking around in that beautiful winter weather. But before we dive into this video, my name is Mermaid Phantom. I'm a professional mermaid, but I also like Gothic and alternative fashion. So like, this is basically me in mermaid form here. Mermaid Phantom, little bats here and everything. You can get a shirt like this if you would like to express your inner gothiness with a touch of mermaid magic. All the jackets I'm going to be reviewing are about around $100 to $200 USD. So that's about the price range. I don't have exact prices. You can look them up on the website. But we're going to start with the coat I'm wearing right now, which is the Shadow Alley coat, which is by Punk Rave. It has really pretty trumpet sleeves, which are really wide and floppy. It has a really fluffy hood, has some cute little fluffy balls on the back, and it's just a very nice feminine Lolita style that has a dark and kind of eerie edge because the sleeves are extra long and kind of spooky looking, which I really like. So let's talk about the good things about this coat and the bad things about this coat and come to the conclusion whether or not it keeps you warm, because that's what you're here for, right? Okay. First, we're going to start with the good. The good things about this coat is it has very deep pockets that are in a great spot. I love pockets. This pocket can hold your phone, it can hold gloves, it can hold tissues, it can hold whatever you need it to hold. The only thing I don't like about the pockets is that they have buttons, but the buttons don't actually do anything. You can't actually close the pockets and seal them shut. They just kind of look cool and they function, but nothing can be like sealed shut, which is a little irritating, but I haven't had any issues with it yet. In addition to having great pockets, this coat also has a very nice fluffy hood, and the fur trim around the hood, which is fake fur by the way, does help cut the sunlight and the wind when you're wearing it. The fur will block some of the sunlight so you can still see, but you won't be blinded by the light. It also cuts some of the wind as it's flowing through, so it kind of just like acts as a windshield, kind of like the dog fur on my microphone that is acting as a windshield for my microphone because I lost the black piece to my mic. Another great thing about this coat is that for us short people, it is not too long to the point where you're going to trip over it. It provides enough coverage for your legs so that your legs don't get super cold, but it also isn't so long that you trip over it, which some Gothic coats do give you an issue with if you are a short fry like me. As far as the warmth goes, this jacket isn't the warmest in the world. It is pretty warm, it's decently warm, but I wouldn't say it is cold, dead of the winter warm. Luckily, it does have a cape on the back that does provide some extra cushioning against the wind when it is blowing. So you have another layer of fabric that kind of keeps the wind from hitting your back and going right through you, which is pretty nice. Unfortunately though, the sleeves are pretty big and puffy, and that lets wind flow through, which makes you a little bit cold, especially because the jacket is lined with satin, and satin is not the warmest material in the world. I don't know why they put satin there, but So this coat isn't the warmest. It is super cute. If you live in a mild climate where you don't get super cold winters, it might be a great option for you. I just recommend layering up so you don't have any of your bare skin touching the satin when it gets super chilly. The next Gothic winter coat that we have is actually one of my favorites because it is a very, very edgy sort of jacket. And I'm wearing it right now. It's got these cool little sleeves you can see here. It is a very stylish coat. It is called the Night Missioner. At least I think that's what it's called. It is a unisex jacket that you can get on Punk Rave. They have, at least they had, a listing for both men's and women's. I didn't see it on there last time I checked, but sometimes things will disappear and then come back. So check back and see if it's there if you want this jacket. Like I said, this coat is one of my favorites. It's actually the first coat that I got from Punk Rave. It was a gift and I really, really, really love this one. It is made out of like a suede fabric, and it's just very stylish, very vicious, very Virgil-esque, as some people have commented before, and I really, really like this jacket. Although I will say it reminds me more of the Executioner from Resident Evil than it does of Virgil from Devil May Cry, and I don't really know why that is, but it's a very cool jacket either way. In addition to being stylish and unisex, it also has really deep pockets, Like the other coat, it doesn't have anything to close off the pockets, but they are deep enough to the point where you don't really need to worry about anything falling out unless you have like a giant water bottle in your pocket. But they're very sturdy pockets. They're actually lined with the same suede-like material, so they're pretty warm to keep your hands in too. They're just nice and cozy. I keep my hands in there all the time. This is actually the coat that I wore last year all winter, which granted it was a mild winter, but I wore it all winter in the snow, on long walks, all the time. I wore lots of layers underneath, which you can watch a video on how to stay warm in the winter as a goth if you'd like to. I'll link it down in the description box below. But this was a coat I wore and I actually would recommend it for winter. Maybe I'm just crazy and I felt so cool looking that it made me feel warm. But I thought this was a very warm jacket. Even though it is a very great jacket, it does have some downsides. I would say the first downside is the hood is a little cumbersome. It's a little much sometimes. It is very big and I really love that about this because you pull it down and it can go like completely over your face and it just looks so intimidating and I love it. But the bad thing about that is if you set it on your head and try to keep it so where you can still see, sometimes it'll fall forward. Or if it's a windy day, because it's such a big hood, the wind will push it off your head. So it's a little hard to keep the hood where you want it sometimes, which is a little annoying. Aside from that, the only other complaint I have about this jacket is the fact that it is super long, which I don't mind too much because it looks really, really cool. But it does drag on the ground. I'm 5'1", just to put things into perspective. And when I wear like 2 to 3 inch platform boots, it still drags on the ground. When I do wear it, I have to make sure I hold the sides of it up, which makes me look like some sort of evil queen of some sort because like wearing this big jacket ball gown type thing. And while it looks cool and it makes me look like I have big giant bat wings, it does give you quite the arm workout because this is a bit of a heavy jacket when you're hanging onto the sides of it because there is a lot of fabric there. But other than that, it is a great coat and it keeps me warm. And I think it'll keep you warm as long as you layer up. The next goth winter coat that we have is one that is new to me. And this is called the Midnight Coat. It is also by Punk Rave. And I bought this one because my Shadow Alley coat was not warm enough to wear outside at recess with the kids. But I didn't want to buy a normal coat because I would hate wearing it. And it's a silly thing, but I like to look good when I'm doing things because it makes me feel better about life. So I bought this coat just recently and I've had the chance to wear it quite a few times. And oh my goodness, I have to say this coat is probably one of the warmest ones that I have reviewed for you yet on this video. And it's very cute. It's another Lolita style Gothic coat, but it is very warm. It has fake fur everywhere, fake fur on the trim of the hood, on the trim of the sleeves. It also has pockets. It has a nice, really fluffy, thick fur, fake fur lining on the inside, which is super warm. And I really, really, really like this one. Again, I think it's probably the warmest one so far. And one of my favorite things about this is even though that Night Missioner one is really warm too, it's not too long for short people like me. I can actually wear this coat just about everywhere without having to worry about it dragging on the ground or me tripping over it when I'm trying to walk. And it's very nice to be able to be warm and not stumble all over the place. So that's good. And another plus for this one, just like the Shadow Alley coat, is that it does have fur on the hood, as I mentioned, and the fur does help cut out some of that sunlight and some of the wind when you're standing outside, especially on sunny, windy days. Although this jacket is super cute, super warm, and just like the perfect length for short people, it does have a few downsides. First of all, the buttons are ridiculously difficult to button up and to unbutton. Like they are just a pain in the button. I cannot stand the buttons and I just hope that maybe over time it'll become easier to button them up, but they're just like super tight and it's hard to get them in or out of the hole, which is very annoying. Also, another complaint I have about this jacket is that the pockets, while it does have pockets, they are in a very weird place and they just don't make much sense. Like they're just in a very weird place, like kind of look like a chicken if you're sticking your hands in your pockets and standing there. If they're not on the side, they're on the front, and I don't know why. It's a small thing to have a complaint about overall, because the jacket is very warm, it's very cute, and I do like it a lot, despite the funky pockets and the annoying buttons. If you've made it this far into the video, please subscribe and hit that thumbs up button. Also, let me know which jacket is your favorite so far. The next one we're going to move on to is one that I think all of the Game of Thrones fans will like. I haven't watched that show before, but everybody always comments how I look like I'm from Game of Thrones when I wear it. So hang on, let me go get that. Yeah, I know. I look a little extra, but I'm not mad. This is actually, instead of a coat, this is a Gothic cloak. And this is called the Revenant Cloak, which is by Punk Rave. It comes in red and it also comes in black. This cloak is actually quite warm, and I bought it before I bought any winter coats. I actually bought this to go over a regular winter coat because I thought that would be the solution to looking cool in the winter, was to just throw a cloak over a winter coat, which is a great thing about this cloak, because if you don't want to get a Gothic jacket and you just want to wear your normal jacket and look cool still, you can throw this cloak over your normal jacket and it acts as a windbreaker, and it also makes you look super, super cool. And I will add that this is a unisex cloak, so it does come in men's and women's sizes, although I really think it's just one size fit all because you tie it around your neck. The downside to this is it cannot be worn on its own in the winter time to keep you warm because it is open in the front. Nice thing about it though is it does have little armholes you can stick your arms through, so you can still use your arms. Just interesting. Another downside though is that it does tie around your neck, which can be irritating because it kind of chokes you out after a while, although it does kind of encourage you to keep your shoulders back if you're kind of slumpy, which I guess could be a good thing. It also does not have pockets, and one more thing about it is that it is quite long and it is quite heavy. So if you are a short person, it might touch the ground a little bit. It's not quite as long as a night missioner jacket, but it is still quite long, and you might trip over a little bit, especially if you're going through a tall snowbank and you sink in, which happens a lot. Those are the 4 jackets I have for you. Let me know which one was your favorite and which one you're considering getting. Also, if you would like to get one of these, use the code PHANTOM for a discount off of your order of $100 or more on Punk Rave. I don't make any money off of that. It just lets them know that you magic crafters love Punk Rave stuff, because I love their stuff and I know you will too. And check out the description box for that video on how to stay warm as a goth in the winter. It's on my Dark Slayeress channel. Also look in the description box for a link to a very special winter goth mermaid video. Stay warm, stay safe, and have a magical day.